How did you like your ice time today? Gassed.
It's a lot of hours. How did I like it? I loved it.
Yeah, I had fun. I had fun going on the ice.
I loved it. It's a good change of pace for a change of pace.
Yeah,
it was a change of pace, and we used to do all camps, and now we do the academy. And the camps are sprinkled in now. So it was good. I loved it. A lot of shooting, and
I like skating with you. It's fun.
It's fun.
I have fun, man.
To make it fun. So we got. Were you gonna say something?
I was just gonna say I feel like we have good chemistry on.
Well,
the
you've
ice.
been with me for so long, right? You know, if I don't have a puck, I'm looking for a puck and there's one sliding towards me.
Yeah, right. Stuff or like you that. Start talking and I'll pick the whistle up because I know, and it's just like, and then you pick the whistle up and I know not to whistle again. It's and it's just without speaking, we can like riff off that way. It's nice.
Yeah, that's good. I've got one of my little buddies here. He's
Buddy boy.
Listening. Yeah, I got Hudson here. So Hudson is one of our good buddies in Guelph. His mom actually is I forget the name, but the title, but she's sales, the marketing, I think, for the Guelph Storm. So this little fart, the first year that Charlie played in Guelph, came up to me and started talking to me, and he would always talk to George, who is the general manager, and George just got a kick out of him and just kept sending him over to me. So anyways, him and I talked, and we became good buddies in grade 6. So he signed up for our camp, saw it online. His dad and his parents listen to the podcast. They're a really, really nice couple. And so I always liked
He just checked in.
Yeah, he checked in. My dad? Yeah, your dad. They're nice. They're great people, buddy. And so he came to our camp. He signed up for our camp. It was a chance for him to come down and skate with me. And we've been buddies for 4 years now. And he's doing great out there. He's got his Kitchener Rangers garbage on, though. You have to change teams, tell your parents to move. And then, but he stayed at our house for 2 nights. So we're having a good time, eh, buddy?
How did you like the skate today? Was it fun? Oh, he stayed on for all 3 sessions.
Yeah,
I went up to him the last session because the last session's the big boys, right? All the older kids, draft year kids and stuff like that. I'm like, hey, there's a couple big kids out here. He goes, are you nervous? He's like, yeah, pretty nervous. Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, oh God, I'm tired now. So I was just telling him in the car, he goes, that was really cool because, right, Hudson, you said that it was really cool, but he got really nervous with the older guys. And I said, well, you just lived one day in the life of a Charlie Paquette.
Yeah, all right.
Charlie grew up like that. He grew up because he used to come, can I come to work, Dad? Yeah. And he would either work out, skate with a group, skate with another group. And I remember so many times I was very reluctant to let him on with my junior and pros because it's like, and the boys would say, no, bring him on. And it wasn't I was training him, but what he realized, I was just saying to Hudson, I said, now you can understand what, it's actually good to do that because you can actually somewhat understand what it's like to be the new guy, right? Something we always talk about in our camps is always treat people the right way. So when you're the youngest guy at a camp and you don't really feel like you belong, it's just nice when someone lets you join and treats you the right way. You'll always remember those people, right? And then you'll always remember the people that treat you like, why are you here? And I understand it, but then so now tomorrow when he goes out with the younger group, he'll know that it's important to make everybody feel pretty good about themselves because it's a leadership thing, right? Because you don't want to be the guy that gets shit on, right? And your parents heard me say shit now, and so it's important. So that's, I think, for my own kid, that was it's something that he learned by osmosis, if that's what osmosis is.
Yeah, osmosis, you're right.
You're around something and you realize, okay, if Steve Ott and Mike Weber and whatever can treat me decent and joke around with me, then I should be able to do that with younger people. And then, oh, by the way, since I go on the ice with these guys and they're older and they treat me so good, I'm going to make sure I pick up the pucks and set up the pylon so they don't have to do it. And then you learn how to be a servant and a master. Do you know what I mean by that?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you play on both sides, man.
Play on both sides.
Yeah.
So that you anyways.
Yeah,
that's a sentence I can't figure because I'm so freaking tired from skating.
You did a good job. That was
okay,
clear.
Good.
I thought it was clear. I don't know. Maybe I just get you though, and maybe it's not that clear.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
The other thing too,
honestly, I would have liked a little bit more energy in that.
that's okay.
I just feel like I'm not energetic right now, but I
Either way,
am, but I'm not.
it's not an optimal time to record at the end when you're gassed. But the other cool thing is for him, like you're 2013, right? There's kids on the ice that are 09s, which would be he could have to play against those guys, right? Like that is the age. If you play junior and there's that 4-year, 5-year, if there's an overage, right? Like you one day would be playing against those guys that you're looking at them right now like this, like these guys are so big, right? And you could be on their team or playing against them and stuff, which is kind of interesting perspective to see. So that's awesome. I had fun, man. It was cool I should be on the ice a lot more than I am, but I get pulled away from the ice quite a bit. So it was nice to get on and skate and shoot and just be. I love skating, man. Like,
but dude, but see, it's kind of good. We talked about this on our last podcast about getting to choose your attitude, right? It's the best thing in the world. Like we all grew up like all that little shit over there too. Everybody wants to make money in hockey or play hockey, and they love hockey. And I know something that you're going to talk about today with an email that you got. We all love hockey so much, and it's so easy to forget how much you love it. And I've been doing hockey clinics and stuff for 25 years, 25 years. It's so easy to go and just say, "Oh, I got another clinic," but it's like it's so much fun. And it's so rewarding is the other thing is like you know what, I love it. That's the one thing I always say, like the one thing I love about my job is that I have the ability to choose my attitude, but I also have the ability to choose the outcomes on the ice. And it's very easy to go out and Sean O'Donnell. You know Sean O'Donnell? Good buddy. It's very easy to go out and just run, like not make the corrections because it takes time and patience and all that kind of stuff. But it's great when you teach and you see the light bulb click. You see it click and someone gets it or starts to get it. Then you know you made a difference. Not just like you show that you give a shit. Number two, you're showing that you're making a difference in their game. And I know it might sound a little bit weird, but that's actually I get a lot of joy and that's why I do it. Kid, because some days I'm just gassed. But if I can teach someone how to get the puck off quicker and score one more goal, or have it click in a game, or just make progress, it makes me happy.
I agree with all that. But the other thing I was feeling today when I stepped out, because I go on the ice here and there practicing and stuff, but like actually going out in that environment, I haven't done that with you since like last year. It's been almost like a year since we've done that, right? And like I just love the activity of skating. And it might be, maybe it's definitely because I'm good at skating. Like, and I was a pretty good skater. So I'm like pretty smooth and like I can transition well, like forwards to backwards and spin and stop and like do all these things pretty well and pretty smooth. So I can get into this little flow state. So even like the one drill we were doing, you had like as a warm up when they're doing lengths and they're stick handling the puck and whatever, and they need to keep their head up. So I just am weaving around through and it's like partially like for the guys, it's like, hey, watch out, I'm gonna run into you. But it's also like I just feels nice selfishly, like, right? You get to feel. I just like feeling my edges and cutting into the ice and forwards to backwards and all that stuff, and then handling the puck, like just feeling it on your stick and just cradle, like the touch of it is so nice. And it was nice
Hockey's
to kind of,
the best.
yeah, it was nice to reconnect with it a little bit today, like jumping on. And I'm like, man, it's just skating is so nice. It just feels so good.
Nice sheet of ice.
Oh,
God. The puck, the sound, the smell, everything. It's the best.
So we were at St. Andrews this weekend for our tournament, and they have their own building, right? Like their rink. I think it's relatively new actually. LeBrier Family Ice Arena or something. LeBrier Ice Arena, I think it's called. And have you been there before to the rink?
No, never been.
Dude, well, the campus itself, it's like a university campus. Like it feels like a university campus.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
Old school architecture, like that kind of stuff. The rink's pretty new, but it's just theirs. So they have like the full ice crew. They have like, it's like the one side seating, but it's like half up the wall starts kind of thing. And then they have their gym there and their rehab stuff and whatever. So we're in there, and before the game, in between games, they would do a dry scrape, and then they would flood. So like to start the game, and I didn't play, so maybe the ice sucked, but just like the look of it, it was just like crisp, like clean, like well maintained. They had, like, the nets had the good pegs. They had the good, like, nice clean white mesh on the nets. And it was just like, oh, this is awesome, man. Like, just stepping on and like that first carve when you step on the ice, I'm like, oh, I would love to just be on there. It looked so great, and like the design of it, the colors, the rink, it's got an old school type of feel to it, but it's still a newer rink. So everything's kind of updated and new, but it has that old feel to it. And it was a really nice place to play. And so we were there, and I was thinking of all that stuff too. Like I was saying to the guys, like, it's the players, just like it makes me reconnect with the love that I once had playing. It's so fun, man. It's just so fun to be on the ice and to be able to skate and shoot and move the puck around, and all that feel and how it looks and all like the sensory input is just, oh man, it's awesome. And maybe I was missing it again like on the weekend, which is cool. But we ended up, on that note, we lost in the finals to Stansted. And
You said that's a French school or a Quebec school?
Yeah, they're close to Montreal, I believe. Quebec. Yeah, a lot of French speaking, right? And they what's kind of interesting is, like, so when I growing up played in the AAA Loop Alliance, there wasn't a lot of that. Like, there was prep schools, but we didn't really play them. They weren't around.
No, not in your era.
And now they're starting to get more integrated into AAA because some of them are pretty good. And so even outside of that, like the tournament that we were at St. Andrews, it was basically all prep schools. So it was like St. Andrews, Kings Heights, Stansted, Okanagan, Ontario Hockey Academy, like Everest. So it's prep, and it's not something I'm used to seeing. You know, you're used to your Windsor Sun County, London, Sarnia, like that kind of thing. And it's the way the programs are run are just different. Like it's almost like the OHL versus college thing at a smaller scale in the youth, right? And so it's like the kids are walking through with uniforms on. Like they look like they go to freaking Hogwarts, man. Like they got the blazer, like some of them, not all of them, right? Like we don't wear those, but like some of those schools have that, and there's that premium. They have that premium feel to it, and a lot of them, they charge a lot of money, man. Like there's a lot of people that go to these schools, like they pay a lot of money, and so it's like a very upscale, like it has that professionalism feel to it. Like some of the teams travel with, it's youth hockey, and they travel with physiotherapist that has the bed, and like the whole medical staff with them, and trainers and all this stuff. And it's like, holy crap, man. Like some of these schools, like St. Andrews, has been around since 1900. The one school, I forget if it was Kings Heights or Stansted, was like 1872. Started as a school.
Was Jesus born then?
I think the Lord went there. Right? So it's
had to be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's 1800, yeah, that's his age. So.
That's right. So it's very different. It's a cool thing to see. It's like a different side or a different element of the
and this is interesting that you talk about this, because I hate it.
I know. And I love it.
I know. It's so different, right?
I'm like college. I love that shit. I love the professionalism. I love the clean cut, like the simple uniforms. I love it. I think it's so cool. It's but
it's that's what makes the world go around, I guess. So they say. That's the part I don't like. Like for me, so this is my old, like, I'm from downtown Sudbury. I'm not cultured in any way. Right. So when I see the all that, it just, I sit there and I go, I'm just saying my thoughts, my innate thoughts. I'm like, you're given the world already. Like, what else do you need in life, man? But I mean, some people, but now there's other people that grow up that way, and it's like, and they end up being very successful, and it's like, maybe that's why.
I was trying to explain it to Dan. We were talking on the phone over the weekend, and I'm trying to explain the difference of what it is about college that's different than the OHL, for example. And then at the lower level would be the difference between like a prep school versus a AAA program. And it's hard to explain the difference, but there's just like I don't know. I don't have the right words to even say it. Like something, an element of maturity or professionalism. But it's like you look at the OHL teams and they have that too. So I'm trying to. I don't know what words to use. I don't have the right vocabulary to explain the difference.
I was explaining this to my wife. I think maybe it was yesterday or the day before. It's like, the difference is like, because we're talking about like if you go to college, like you're playing 30 games. Like I didn't sign up. I would have never signed up for hockey to play 30 games. That's why like I look at it and I go like, I don't know who's interested. And I know I sound like a jackass. I get that. But I want to play like
I think
as
it's a
a
valid
player.
point.
But I'm a hockey player.
Yeah.
I don't care about the school part. Right? Like I want to be a hockey player. And I get it, but like if you look at it, it's Canadian versus American model. That's all the difference is. Like in the United States of America, you go to school. I don't think I'm schooling anybody here, but you go to school and you play for your school, like all the way up, like a high school sport. Hockey's just probably the only sport that's different. Any other thing you do in the States, in the United States of America, is you're playing for your school or your college. That's the way it is. Until hockey comes along, then it changes because it's a different sport. There's different avenues, right? So I get if you come from Minnesota or Massachusetts and Connecticut, and these things that you grow up playing for your school and playing for your high school team, being a star at your high school. Like to me, it makes no sense.
Right.
In Canada,
we don't have that.
It's like that's not a thing. If you're a star at your high school in hockey, it means you weren't very good at hockey, right? Because you're not playing junior, right? So, but in the United States of America, you are you're so proud to play for your school. That's what it is. It's the way to go. And then when hockey's over, you're jumping into your next sport. If it could be wrestling and stuff, and you're just probably equally as proud. So when you get that, the high school, the college, and all that stuff, it makes sense to them. It's like their culture. That's the way it was cultured. And I get it if you're a hockey player in the United States of America because like everyone else does it in their sport. So like looking at the junior hockey model is a total opposite of what any other sport in the United States does.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I agree.
Pretty much, right?
I still can't I can't figure out, maybe it's just the funding. Maybe that is the difference maker of like some of these prep schools, colleges.
So, yeah.
Because it's not that different like operationally, it's not that different. Like if I look at the Guelph Storm when they go on the road, like they all have their matching tracksuits and they have all right, and which was no different than college, but there's just something about there's a quality that I can't find the right word to describe why there's a difference to me when I look at it, and maybe it's a little bit of that because they have more money. There's just that little bit of a premium element to it or something. I don't know, but it's very interesting to see that. Like even BioSteel sponsored the Minnesota Hockey Championship over the weekend. Dude, they're at XL Energy Center in Minnesota. Sold, like, I don't know if it was sold out, but like packed the state championship. Ridiculous. Everybody's decked out, sick uniforms, right? Everything's sponsored. Everything's got funding behind it, and there's a commissioner of the state high school league. Beyond, we don't have anything like this.
But that's one state that does it like that, and I don't think too many do.
But it is the extreme.
But I know like there's some states like I think it's Massachusetts. Like you have your regular team, and then gets interrupted by your
so it's not quite
teams.
It's not quite as all encompassing as Minnesota high school. But even in Michigan, like we played the couple of the teams. I'm blanking on the names of them now, but they put together a group of high school kids that come and play in these tournaments until their actual season starts, and then they go do their season hockey or whatever, right? It's like so it's like a pre-high school season team, It's like it's so different, but
different than here.
It's just interesting.
It's not wrong, not right.
No, and I would love like even in Minnesota, like I would love to get to know that how that works, like what that path is like. If I'm 10 years old playing hockey in Minnesota, what do I think of my path? Like what are my steps? Like if I want to play in the NHL one day, what am I thinking in my head? In Ontario, I'm going to play AAA for my local AAA team probably, and then I'm going to try to get drafted, and then I'm going to play my 2 to 4 years in the OHL and try to jump up to the NHL. What is that equivalent in Minnesota or whatever other big hockey state there is?
And talking to the College Hockey Inc. guys, they made a comment to me like, those decisions are not made like that over there in the States. It's
they don't have to worry about.
Grow up with college it's college NHL obviously, but if you can play college hockey, that's what the thing is. They don't think of junior hockey like we do here. So when they get to, so they're not they know that if they're going to play college, the average person, not maybe average, but like typically if you're going to go to college, you're not getting there till 20. Like 18 would be early to play out of school.
You don't even think about it till you're 18.
So you go play. So if you play if you're not in the greatest junior program, it's okay because they look at it. I still got 5 years, so they just keep trucking along, and it works.
Yeah,
like it works.
It does. It's just different. It's so interesting. You got little Hudson over here. He's as a 2013. He's in his head. It's like my OHL draft is midget minor year, right? My U16 year, and that's like where his head is at, right? Until that day comes, and then after, whether it works or it doesn't work, then he has to think of the next thing, right? At 15, and like these guys, not even a thought till they're 18 of which way they're going to go. It's like, I'm going to go play high school, and then I'm going to try to get into a college, and then I'll just think of other things later. So it's cool to see. I would like to know more about that. It'd be cool to have somebody on from like Minnesota hockey to talk about those.
Yeah, we should
like
one day.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, we should one day. Actually, that's a good idea.
Yeah, maybe I'll try to find. I think the coaches site guys were there too. I think Aaron was there.
I'm sure we could
find somebody that could give us the ins and outs of that, which is cool. So, this episode of the podcast is brought to you by the PowerTech Online Membership Program. If you've been listening to Andy and I wondering, hey, how are they able to get all this podcast content out there? Well, that's because of our members. For just $9.99 a month, you can get access to our online video library, including hundreds of videos of Coach Andy teaching, and have the option for consultation calls with Andy or myself to go over anything you need. We can cover training, nutrition, coaching, parenting, agents, the junior college hockey path, whatever's of interest to you. You'll also be able to participate in our popular Ask Me Anything episodes, have access to special discount codes, and be given priority for any PowerTech in-person camps or events. If you like what we're doing here and you want to support us, this is the best way to do it. Visit powertechhockey.ca/memberships or find the link in the description of this video to learn more. So anyways, I'm gonna maybe go to this email now because we've been yapping for a bit. But so I had somebody write in, which it was a pretty interesting circumstance, and there's a lot of different elements. So I'll just get your thoughts on it. I gave you a little primer about it, but I'm gonna read the email I got because I have permission to do so, and then get your thoughts on the different elements because there's a lot to talk about. So I had this message come in, and it says who it's from, and it says a struggling hockey mom. So this was the message. Hello, I'm watching your videos trying to learn about hockey to help my 9-year-old who somehow has fallen in love with this sport. He loves to play and works harder at it than I could have believed was possible for a kid his age. The problem is that he's not very good at it, and he keeps getting rejected from teams, including both travel and house teams. He has spent the last season playing 5 or 6 days a week, plus practicing on his own, and is still not catching up to his teammates.
How long has he been doing that?
She just says the last season. 5-6 days a week, let's say for a year then, practicing on his own, and is still not catching up to his teammates, who practice half the time and don't put in nearly as much effort. I feel that he has a great disadvantage, not having a dad to help him, as his dad passed away, and I also feel that I've let him down by not doing the right things for him. He does not seem burnt out and wants to keep playing, but if I were honest, I would say I'm starting to feel a bit burnt out by it all, though it has been so discouraging seeing him work so hard, and a huge time and money expense on my part just to get all the rejections from the U10 tryouts. What can I do differently to help him catch up to become a better player, or do some kids just not have it in them, and am I better off trying to talk him out of playing hockey? I'd be very grateful for any advice on this if you could bring this topic up, or if you could bring this topic up in one of your videos. Thank you. An unexpected hockey mom. So that's kind of a unique message. I haven't really got one like this before, which is why we got a lot of emails and stuff, but this one was kind of different. So I'm happy that she was okay with me bringing it up on the podcast. So I want to go like a little bit piece by piece, but I'll ask you more targeted questions, but just like maybe some general thoughts first on just the message, and then I'll ask like a little bit more specific
general thoughts
questions.
First.
Yeah.
General thoughts to me are, I'm just happy a kid found hockey, loves hockey. That's a pretty typical thing if you love hockey. Like if you've never played and you start to play hockey, it's an awesome game. Like it's an awesome game, and I think I love the innocence of this because he just wants to play. And I think mom, typical. I'm not saying this in a bad way. She's typical mom wants his son to make some hockey teams. How do I do it? And it's like, you know what? There's nothing you can do. If he loves it that much, he's going to play and he's going to practice and he's going to get better. And then you might be faced with something that you almost regret, playing travel hockey or something like that. But the first thing is I'm just happy that the young guy found some hockey. He's still so young that it's whatever. It's not do or die that he gets something done right now. But if he wants to just practice and play, I think it's great. The other side that I'm thinking about is that he lost his dad, and I think what a great outlet to put your time into hockey. And you don't have to have all kinds of. I would just say let him play because he seems to love it, and let it go where it's supposed to go. It seems like over a year. A year is not a long time to achieve anything. So I don't know. I'm not clear if she's saying he's started a year ago and he's getting better and he loves it. Like that's almost no time to put into it. But let's see if he can stick to it and continue to play. I don't understand how he didn't make a house league team. That confuses me. I feel like he should, because I think that's what house league is. So maybe, unless it maybe signed up too late or something. But I would definitely get him on an organized team and enjoy it. I think it would be great for him just from being in a dressing room, being around some other people, other families. I'm not saying that you're a single mom doesn't ever hang out with anybody. I'm just saying it would be good to have your son integrate with some other people, and I think it would just be really good for him. You know, he'd have some good friends growing up in hockey, and I'm really happy for the kid.
Yeah. So I have like a couple of things I keyed in on in the message that I'll just ask you pointed about. So I responded to this and I gave like some of my thoughts, and without telling you my response, I just want to see if you go the same way or if you take it differently, whatever. So the first thing I'll start on, like you touched on, is the age, right? So first thing is trying to help my 9-year-old who has somehow fallen in love with the sport, not making U10 teams. So let's just start with that first. So for a kid for his age, where he's at, assuming he must not be very good, for the mom who doesn't know anything about hockey to also think he's not very good. So what are like just about the age specifically, what is some advice with context of that age? So what would you say to mom about where he's at and kind of how it goes in terms of his development as he gets older? Just like from a timeline perspective, like maybe what to expect, what not to expect, or what you can look for in terms of cues of, with the last line of it in mind, like should I talk about it playing, whatever, not in terms of the age. What do you think like some words of advice would be from that perspective?
I just think from age, I think like because if you're trying to get him, she's not trying to do anything. She's trying to figure out what to do with her son. I think, funny, today we had our younger group and they're doing shooting. It's almost like not important that they go to a shooting clinic. Because they can only absorb so much, they can only shoot so much. They're only like young. They're young. So it's like they're better off just playing, and they're going to learn some stuff as they go. And that's what I would say to this 10-year-old: is play. Like you'll be shocked how much you're going to learn and how much you're going to improve by just playing the game as often as you can. So the next step, though, for the 10-year-old would be to get into some sort of team, if you can. If you can't afford it or something, that might be one thing. But if you can, I would just get on a team. Host league, I wouldn't try whatever, but just get on a team so you can enjoy the team.
Like going
dynamic
to games,
of a team,
games,
playing for a team, playing with a team, making friends, having a coach, and doing that, and then and enjoy it and just play. And that's the only thing I would say is get play on a team. And then if he plays on a team, I would actually say, I would love to see this, is don't get all caught up in what clinic and what power skating and all that stuff that you need to do, because it's not as fun as what the stuff you're doing probably. Go and get some. Just go continue to practice the way you have been. Wherever you are, you're actually doing something. Continue to do that.
Okay, so that's going to go to
first.
That's going to go to my next thing. But one of the things that maybe some like higher level perspective, like in your mind, think of the best shooting 9-year-old. Okay, like what does the best shooting 9-year-old look like? They can maybe raise the puck. They can maybe like hit the crossbar. Like they don't really know how to shoot, right? Like they do the big long sweep, and the kids that can shoot best at that age, that's kind of what they're doing. It's not like they're fantastic technical shooters. They just learned how to raise the puck first and whatever. And so like the gap,
they practice shooting for 4 years.
Right.
Yeah.
So what looks like a huge gap isn't actually as big as it seems, because if your kid practices for a couple hours throughout the week, he'll start to be able to raise the puck and get close to hitting it. And then you'll be like, holy cow, like what a great shot. And it's still not really a great shot in actual hockey as they get older. So my point of bringing that up as an example is like the gap that you're seeing at that age is not as big as it seems necessarily because of how fast the kids can learn and develop some skill, you know? So the kids that are usually the best when they're that young are the kids that can raise the puck or they can skate the fastest. Like those are the kids that are the best. They can skate through everybody because they learned how to skate first, and they can raise the puck before everybody. So the goalie's that's 3'4" in the net, he can't actually reach up there very well, right? So it's not real hockey skill. So the discrepancy between that top end kid and obviously if the kid doesn't know how to skate at all, then we got some work to do. But like the difference between the median kid of that age and the top end kid is not actually that big. So there's a lot of room to catch up is my point, I think, right? So that's one. The next piece of this that I was kind of keyed in on was this line. He spent the last season playing 5 or 6 days a week, plus practicing on his own, and is still not catching up to his teammates who practice half the time and don't put in nearly as much effort. So I don't know. I don't understand if she's saying maybe he's on a team but didn't make a specific team or something. So, but my thing that I'm keying in on this is the 5-6 days a week, because then a little bit later, Mom's talking about this has been a huge time and money expense on my part. So, what's my question to you?
Your question is that too much?
I have something like that. Like, what do we think about the time? Okay, so if you're the unexpected hockey mom now. You, Andy, are the mom, right? And you have to decide.
I'm a woman. I'm a handsome woman.
You are a handsome woman, right? So you have to decide what to do with this kid now. So what would you do in this situation where last season you spent 5-6 days a week? I'm assuming these are things you have to pay for, running around, because she said playing 5-6 days a week plus time on his own. So time on his own would be, we don't have to pay for that. So that would indicate to me that the other 5-6 things are something you probably have to pay some money for in terms of going to sessions to play or practice or whatever. So what would you advise in terms of the time delineation on what to spend your time on, or how many times to spend per week doing whatever, or paying for things, and that kind of question?
Okay, so I'm going to assume that I'll assume that they're clinics of some sort, if that's based on that conversation. If they're clinics, like, then I start to have a problem with it, because not a problem with them, but I think you're not going to be a better hockey player in general by doing clinics after clinic after clinic. You have to play hockey. That's what you have to do. So if he's not playing on a team and he's going to a whole bunch of clinics, then he's going to be good at going to clinics. So I've seen a lot of players, like there was one kid out there today that one of our coaches said that the kid could shoot a puck. He's got to be a pretty good player. And I said, watch him skate and watch him process. He goes, oh yeah, okay. He goes, like, he could shoot though. I go, yeah, he's probably shot a lot of pucks, which is great. So going to a lot of clinics, then what happens is your brain, if you're not playing, especially, there's a dude here in town that wanted to do that years ago. He was actually, and he had customers in Windsor, Ontario, where it was like, don't play because we're going to just train you to be an NHL player. Like, we'll train you to get to junior and stuff. And it's like, wow.
Yeah. I remember this guy. He was around when I was a kid in minor hockey.
Ridiculous. So it's like, first of all, the aspect of training as a young person, training hockey is like, it's not playing hockey. You're training hockey. It doesn't make any sense. You play hockey. You don't train hockey until you get to be a hockey player. Then you have to train to be then you train because you're that good. You're training specifically for it. But like, as a young kid, to train to be a hockey player doesn't make any sense. So you play hockey, and then you do things to make yourself better. And whether that's a clinic, yes, you can go to some. I'm not saying don't go to some, but or go to lots. I don't give a shit. Do whatever you need to do, but trust me on this. Like, going through pylons and all that kind of stuff is not going to make you a better player. Someone always telling you what to do. Your greatest moments, or your greatest greatest learning is just by playing and being able to think for yourself. So if everyone's saying, okay, now you turn left, now you turn right, now you keep your head up, now do this, don't do that. No, we're only shooting this way today. It's like you're taking the fun to a certain degree. You're taking the fun, you're taking the creativity out of it. So anyways, if you're going to all the clinics all the time, that's what you're doing. You're spending money you're spending a lot of money to get you nowhere because you have no idea. What I would say is play the game. Play the game as much as you can, and then your son or daughter will practice on their own, and because they love hockey. And then if they start achieving something in hockey, or you see it's going somewhere, then maybe you can get a little bit more specific in the training, I guess. I'm not a fan of training, like hockey schools and stuff. I'm not a big fan of that.
Not anymore.
I never really was because there's a time, and I say that owning a hockey company, but I'm not. I don't sit here and want every person to come every time. There's a time and a place for everything. Is my point, and it needs to be good training for a certain level. I think now younger kids they want to come out and go through a whole bunch of pylons, and it's fine. But that's not going to make you a superstar hockey player.
Yeah. So I
know I'm all over that, but
no, this is good because then we tighten it as we keep going. What I was saying to Mom basically was broader scope is like, what is the issue? Is the issue that the kid doesn't understand how to play, or is it that he has no skills? Right. So at that age,
or doesn't play, does he have a team?
Yeah. Right. So, but at that age, it would be both. Right. But if you're going to spend money, like my thing is, if I assume that they're spending 5 or 6 days a week going to things they have to pay for, my advice was, okay, let's pull that back. And what do you actually need to pay for? So if I'm mom and I know nothing and my kid doesn't know how to skate, maybe I say, okay, I'm going to pay for some kind of a skating lesson, right? Whether it's a power skating, a treadmill, or whatever, right? And even if the teaching isn't phenomenal, like get on the ice and work on skating if it's that obvious. So as that was my example. It's like, so now if you peel it back to twice a week and you pay for that thing that will give you the most return because that's actually what he needs some coaching on, now your dollars are better spent. You're getting more out of your money, having a focused purpose with the thing that you pay for. So if it's like, I know nothing about hockey and my kid clearly can't keep up with anyone on the ice because he doesn't know how to skate very well, then maybe I'll do that. If it's my kid, every time it touches its stick, it explodes off his stick, and I don't know how to teach the kid stick handling, then okay, maybe you do stick handling twice a week and not skating and not shooting and not all this other crap. So my point being, spend your dollars in a purposeful way. Don't just spend all your dollars, because then you end up with, she's feeling burnt out. It's a lot of time, it's a lot of money. And she's like, I don't see the return. I don't see him catching up or getting better or whatever. And so if you put him in everything, I was kind of saying the more isn't always better. If you put him in everything all the time, then you're wasting time and wasting money because he doesn't need everything all the time. So whatever it is, like pick 1 or 2 things that you want to go pay for that are going to, you think, pull up the worst parts of him most. And then the rest of the time we can do stuff at home. Like, dude, like,
yes, you can do a lot at home.
Man, like I don't know, like, and I did not practice all day, every day, all the time. Like I played other sports. I hung out with buddies. I played school sports. I did other things. So I'm not sitting here saying like all I did was practice all day, every day, but I practiced a lot. And my dad purposely built our house on a cul-de-sac so that there was no traffic. And it was the best thing ever. Like I want to buy a house one day on a cul-de-sac because of this. So I could skate around on my rollerblades in my cul-de-sac all night. And I did a lot of that. And the older I got, the more of that I did. I never paid. I always say this. I did the one camp with you at the end of summer. That was it. That was all my dad paid for. I did, once the treadmill was a thing, I would come and do treadmill workouts once a week. But that was until I was like 15.
Yeah, 16, 15.
Right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be pay for it. And I was a good skater. And I could shoot the puck. And I could handle the puck. And was I Connor McDavid? No, I wasn't. If I paid for more, would I have been Connor McDavid? No. So it doesn't have to be so much volume that you have to pay for. If the kid wants to play and have fun and he's really interested in it, he's going to be picking up the hockey stick all the time. He's going to do a lot of it himself.
It's funny. So we had one person here that was decided that he wanted to be a hockey player. at 16, right? And maybe he decided that at 14 or whatever, or 12. If he decided it early, then everything he's doing is not working, which is fine, right? But like, let's say he was on this path for a long time. It's like, it's clearly not working. If you just decided to get to be a hockey player at 15, 16, it's like, it's not working. And there's a whole lot of missing pieces. So like, kind of to that question that the lady that wrote in asked, some people have it, some people don't. Well, I think everybody can learn stuff. And some people seem to be, I don't want to say they are. It's a weird thing, but some people have a knack for being good at sports, and some people have a knack for being good at plumbing and fixing things and stuff like that. But I think it's just what you're exposed to. But I think it's the most important thing is how engaged you are in actually the learning process. And like for the one person that was coming here and was dead serious, they were doing everything they possibly could, like to the point it's like, well. It's ridiculous.
Go to bed.
Go to bed. Go to bed.
Go to bed.
But look at it's like if I pick up a guitar right now, right? I'm dead serious about this now. I'm gonna go to every lesson, and you see after 3-4 months that it's like, okay, you're spending money all over the place, and you do whatever you want, man. Do whatever you want, but like you can get caught thinking that it's easy, right? Like you're the hockey guy, the kid playing hockey he was unrealistic, and he was expecting results really quickly, and like there's nothing there, zero. But part of the reason is because there was a arrogant way of approaching this situation. Instead of saying, okay, being honest and watch yourself skate, like, because there's video all over the place of him skating. If you watch yourself skate, does your skating look like anybody else's? It's very, very different than everybody else on the ice, and it's not different in a better way. So that's an issue. If you're actually serious about this, so you're gonna have to learn how to skate properly, and you can't do it at a clinic with 24 guys all the time, or 30 guys or whatever, because or at the academy, let's say, because we're not just here just for you, right? So you have to that would have to be a private thing or semi-private thing to work out the kinks, or which is fine, go on your own and take a YouTube video, because we have that now, or to do it yourself, and it takes time, but you got to do the hard part. So one day he asked me, what do I need to work on? I try to be polite, right? Someone said, I tried out for a team. They said, you need to work on your skating. So my answer should have been, well, of course, your skating is not the only thing you need to work on. You have to work on every single aspect of hockey, because you don't have one thing. But let's just say it is your skating. I said, I'll give you some stuff today that you need to focus on. Well, when it came to do the work, he wanted to skip through it because he wanted to get through. Like, no, I'm good though. You know what I mean? Like, the attitude wasn't like he wasn't going to grind through it, so it wasn't going to happen. So anyways, the customer that called in, or the client that called in, it's like, got to just like have a clue. Like, you're a mom. If you look at it objectively, looking at your kid on the ice, does he skate like the rest of them? Like, is he like really, really bad, or is he not bad? If he's not bad, then maybe there's something there, and it's just going to take some time, right? It might just take some time.
And
a year is not a lot of time.
And this is the age thing again. And you have to be able to, like, at the end of the day, if the kid really enjoys playing, then he'll always be able to play. Like, there will be, if it's house league, like, he'll be able to play, and let him, like, especially like you're talking about, like, he doesn't have his dad around to guide him, whatever. And how you mentioned, like, what a great outlet. Don't take it away prematurely and try to force him into do something else if this is where his interest is, But I always, like, I say this every time we have these kind of conversations. I don't know what the situation is. I only know what you wrote down when you sent me it, right? So it's hard to give real appropriate advice without actually knowing the kid, knowing the people, knowing the circumstance, whatever. But based on what you're saying is happening and what you wrote down, the kid is really enjoying it. He's found an outlet that is hopefully fun. You can feed that as much as possible, even if he's no good, and he's never going to be good. There's things you can do, but you also don't have to take on the response. How do I word this? it's not your responsibility as mom and dad, whoever, to force your kid to be good at whatever the activity is that they're doing. You know, in my opinion, it's your responsibility to provide them with opportunity, guided by their interest, to get better, improve, and have fun with what they're doing. It's their job, even if they're young, to do the work to get better. So you don't have to run around 5 to 6 times per week to everything ever because your kid likes hockey. You know, my parents didn't do that. My parents were like, "Oh, you like hockey? We'll put you on a team and we'll pay for it. We'll give you a couple of extra things that you can do. And then outside of that, go practice on your own, buddy. Like, show us that you care and we will feed more into how much you care." You know, and that was something that worked out well from what I experienced. And I think a lot of people that overcommit to these kinds of things, you just drive yourself crazy. Oh, some of them are just crazy, but you can also drive yourself crazy.
I'm just thinking about, like, I'm picturing your dad, right? Because it's a different domain. So your dad is a professional musician, right? He's incredibly not gifted. He's not gifted. He's really good at music. He can sing. He can dance. Sing. He plays every instrument flawlessly to a T. He teaches it. He's a professional. His videos are unbelievable. Like, he's a professional. So if he said, or I said to him, "So what's the secret? Like, I'm gonna go take guitar lessons with you and go guitar lessons with them, and gonna just take 5 lessons a day and stuff like that." He'd go, what are you doing? Right? He'd say, "No, go take a lesson, take that lesson and practice that lesson, master that lesson, add something to it on your own, play with that lesson for hours and hours and hours, and then we'll do the next lesson." Because that's what your dad did. Or he would take the guitar and he'd find sounds or whatever.
My dad never did one lesson.
Well, and this is my point.
Yeah.
This is my point. My point is that, like, it's not all about the lessons. It's not about every clinic. It's not about having someone teach you everything. Sometimes you got to just learn it on your own. And now I know there's going to be a bunch of people out there and say, "You don't know what you're talking about." Of course I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think, I don't know, if you're in a position, like I say this all the time, people ask me questions about what to buy and what the sport to send their kids and whatever. If it's not a problem, like logistically and financially, to go do everything all the time, like, do whatever you want, man. I don't care. But if you're saying like it's a struggle, or you're feeling burnt out, or it's too much, or it's too expensive, or it's too whatever, then you have to start asking some questions. You know, so if you're in this situation and you're trying to figure out, okay, I'm going to run out of resources for this, so something needs to change. These are like the lines of thinking you can go down to figure out, where actually am I going to invest the time and invest the money, you know? Like, this is where you need to actually sort that out. So I think that it's important that you think of these things, because if you don't, then you're going to run yourself into the ground trying to chase, I don't even know what, you know?
That's the thing.
So
that's what the beautiful thing is. Like, I always like the Wayne Simmons story and the Glenn Metropolit stories and stuff like that, because they come from these are just 2 people that popped in the top of my head from Toronto, and they lived in the projects. They grew up in the projects. Reeves, no. Anyways, those 2 are Glenn Metropolit played in the NHL. Wayne Simmons played in the NHL, and they lived in places where they couldn't pay the electric bill, but the kids grabbed the hockey bags, got themselves to the rinks. They played, sometimes house league. Sometimes if you're really good, someone just says, "Hey, you're really good. I'm going to get you on the team. I'll pay for it." Like, that's what happens a lot of the times. So just play and have fun. And there's you don't have to go to every clinic, but the kids will figure out if they love the game and they're good at it, they're gonna be good at it, and it just works out. Just works out.
My last thing, maybe to shut her down, I've talked about this before too, is that early development illusion kind of thing. And whether your kid is good or not good, don't get fooled by the discrepancy between players' levels when they're that young. You know, so if you're the kid that figured out skating early, or figured out shooting early, or figured out whatever element early, you're going to look like you're way better. But there's some level of gap closing that always happens. You know, if your kid is really, really behind at this age when they're 9, like, don't get all bummed out about it. You know, like, maintain that a neutral feel best you can towards it. And that doesn't mean if your kid's good, that's good. Like, that's fun. Good for you. If your kid's no good, I'm not saying do nothing and don't try to help them. Like, try to help them. But just your own mentality of, like, mom's talking about feeling discouraged, like that he's not catching up and whatever. Like, he's 9. He's 9. The kids that are way better than him, many of those kids will not be way better than him if he keeps, like, trying to get better.
It's so funny because as my son is nearing his junior career, it's everything that we talk about on steroids there. Because I've seen so many kids come in as first round picks that were, as you said, early bloomers, whatever, that turned out to be some, first round pick, can't miss, unbelievable player. Then you get some that are, they're okay. And then you get some that are like garbage. They can't even play in the league for that long. They're out. And some of them come in, like Beckett. I'm throwing guys off the top of my head. Beckett Seneke comes in as a first round pick, and he came in, I think, the league at 5'8", 5'9", about 103 pounds. Had a little bit of jam to him, but he came in, he scored some goals. Then he grew up so he got drafted at 6'4". And he went 3rd overall in the NHL, and he was shocked to shit that he went. Like, if you watch the draft, he was like, "What? I went 3rd overall?" And he's like a really dynamic, great player, right? Where you see another first rounder come in and they have a beard and they look like they have 3 kids already and a family, right? And it's like, well, of course they're going to be good in midget, and maybe even your first year junior is going to be good. But then you see it go. They come in the league and they're good, and it's like, there it is. There's the peak. So the question on that peak is, why do you peak at that? Is it because you grew the mustaches and beard? That shouldn't be the only thing. But I think a lot of the times it's like hockey was easy for them because they were bigger, stronger, faster, and had a family, right? But it was. So now all of a sudden, when, for example, Beckett Seneke is a year or 2 younger, but then he grows. He had. I think, I'm only assuming, I've been through this a long time. It wasn't just easy. He had to catch up with strength, speed, use his brain. Maybe he had to work harder to be as good as this guy. And then all of a sudden, those habits you're gone. This guy's gone. It's gone. So I laugh now at guys. I look at some guys that are signed and I go, he was that early and he signed that quick. And I knew where this was going his first year. I saw it. Like, I'm seeing things that I predicted. I've seen things go the other way too, but I'm more often than not correct, because I can tell he wasn't an elite skater. He was just bigger. He wasn't an elite playmaker. He just he was bigger, stronger, and now things caught up. Another great example I have is you're going to run into an Arbor Jacki, or you're going to run into a Florian Jacki, or you're going to run into a Connor Clattenburg. So none of those guys, it's the best. I love it so much. Everyone was self-motivated, right? And I'll take Connor Clattenburg for a second. Same age as my son. And he was drafted, I think, in the 14th round of the Sioux. Okay. Well, you're no good, apparently. Right? But you know what Connor Clattenburg decided is that instead of being a hockey school player, I'm going to finish every check, and when someone gets near me, I'm going to punch him in the mouth. And I'm going to do that for 3 years. Well, he did it for 2 years, and he got drafted and signed right away. And because those type of players don't grow on trees, right? So you could be the little dangler guy, or you can have all the skill in the world, but Florian Jacki or Connor Clattenburg or Arbor Jacki, when you go in the corner, they don't care how skilled you are, because the punch in the face and the cross check in the ribs is going to slow you right down unless you're going to do that. So you have to have that side of your game as well. So it's I
got the best example ever.
Okay, perfect.
Best example ever. Okay. Sam Bennett. What do you remember about Sam Bennett when he got drafted to the NHL? Do you remember the story about Sam Bennett or no?
No, I don't.
You will when I tell you.
Yeah, I know.
Couldn't do a pull-up.
Oh yeah.
Okay?
Right.
Couldn't do a pull-up.
Right.
And so the story was, at the time, this guy can't even do a pull-up. How could you draft him 4th overall? And if you're an NHL team, you're like, this guy's this good, and he can't even do a pull-up yet. Think about how opposite that psychology is, right? So he goes 4th overall. I think it was 4th. I think it was
so.
fourth to
Very
Calgary,
early, yeah.
and then he got traded to Florida, I believe. I don't know if there was a step in between there, but the point remains. He started off in the league, and everyone was like, that's like embarrassing. Like, you picked a guy fourth overall that can't do a pull-up? Like, that's crazy.
Basically the people would say that he's not committed,
Exactly.
he's not in shape, he didn't
Right.
dedicate his life to
Yeah.
this.
It's like, how about actually he's a little boy? And think about how much if this guy can't do a pull-up, think about how much growth potential we have with this guy, right? And now he's like a rough and tough a little bit, right? Like, he fought in that Canada-US game. He fought.
He plays a gritty game.
Yeah,
for
he
sure.
plays a hard game.
Yeah.
And so, like, it turns out that was actually not a bad bet, right? When the story was, this guy can't even do a pull-up, and that was the mindset that people looked at it. And it's like, we're sitting here like, dude, this guy's going to get drafted first round to the NHL and he can't do a pull-up. Think about how much we can work with this guy, and that's a great example of how to think about a lot of this stuff, right? Like, there's a lot of room to grow at whatever stage that you're at. If you're behind, let me rephrase that. If you're behind and you can still see there's a lot of room to grow, then that's something to still really kind of look forward to, right? And lean into a little bit. It's like, you still have so much room. You get these kids in the OHL that are baby-faced 19-year-olds, it's like, they're not men yet. They're not men. They got space, they got time. And so that would kind of be my last thing to leave off on. Like, you're so, for this example, but for most people that are talking about, youth hockey things, there's so much change that occurs. And so just again, I said this a few episodes ago, make the best decision you can with what you got, work within the resources that you have to the best of your ability, and just let it play out, man. Because we say it all the time, you find every which guy that did it every which way. They had everything, they had nothing, they had some things, they played on the best team, they played on the worst team, they had a skating coach, they didn't, all these things. So just do your best with what you got and just let it ride, man. Because it's a long road of developing through youth hockey, through junior hockey, if they're gonna go on and play. And this isn't even saying they're gonna play. Like, this kid just wants to have fun, right?
Well, it's funny because I have a friend of mine, his son plays in the OHL, he's got another one coming. And he goes, one thing I've always taken from you that I really I tell everybody now is, like, be careful what you wish for. Careful what you wish for. Because the game, once you get to the junior level, is not it's a different game, and you'll look at things as a parent, or maybe even not as a parent. You go, well, you're getting screwed here, or you're getting fortunate here, or whatever. But it doesn't go the way you think it's going to go, and you'll think everything might be going wrong, but everything's going right, and it's never on your timeline, and your kids move away from home, and it becomes a true business, and it's not just a hockey game anymore. So, like, that's why your kid has to want this, not you. That's why it's okay when your kid doesn't have to, or he has to make his own phone call to get a ride somewhere, or he has to walk somewhere, or he has to maybe not go to the best place ever and go somewhere else, and it's a little harder environment. Like, it's okay to have some I'll call them shit sandwiches, even though they're not, because you're going to have them anyways. So it's kind of good to go through some stuff, because when you get to junior, you're gonna have a lot of it, and you won't understand half of it. And that's what my friend said. He goes, like, that's one thing I always remind myself of is, like, it's be careful what you wish for. And if the kid doesn't truly want it, then you put him in that environment. It's like, just looks at you like, well, why am I here? I don't want to do this shit that bad, right? It's hard now.
Yeah,
hard.
Yeah. Sure.
So, anyways,
cool. Okay, that's all I got.
All right.
Let's Shutter D. Thanks for doing this when you're tired. I know you're bagged.
But you know what? You do it now. The week just gets easier.
Yeah, there you go. Ciao for now.